Hello and welcome to Eavesdropping at the Movies. I'm Mike.
And I'm Jose.
And we've just been to see Die, My Love. Directed by Lynne Ramsay, co-written by Enda Walsh, Lynne Ramsay and Alice Birch, and adapted from a novel from 2012 by Ariana Harwitz called Matate Amor, or in English, Die, My Love. I didn't know anything about this. I mean, I really didn't know anything about it other than Lynne Ramsay had directed it, and then it had Jennifer Lawrence in the main role. I mean, because it's kind of Halloween season, and that was the title, I thought this might have some kind of horror aspect. It really doesn't. It's Lynne Ramsay, so it sort of defies a little bit of categorization.
And yet, it's a very Lynne Ramsay film.
Yeah. So it's essentially a drama, but it has kind of comedy elements, very black comedy, about a couple. The husband, or the male partner, is played by Robert Pattinson. Young couple, they're pregnant, they move to Robert Pattinson's old family home. It wasn't his home, it was his uncle's, I think, we're told at the start, in Montana. I think they've come from New York. They're going to start their life anew there. He's working all the time. She's just given birth. I mean, right at the start we see they're very, very deeply, very much in love, and it's a very passionate, very active love. But once the baby comes, suddenly he's away all the time. He's never there. She's at home with nothing to do. She is, in theory, a writer, but she's not getting any writing done. And essentially what we're seeing is postpartum depression, although it's only really stated as such once, and that conversation is discarded immediately. You know, she's, I don't want to talk about it. I've not got that, whatever it was, you know. So the film kind of does bring up that idea, but really it's a film that's not talking through what postpartum depression is. It's a film that's just dealing with a state of mind. It's hardly even plot driven. You're just seeing a character. It's how this person thinks, how she behaves, the situation that she finds herself in. At the start it feels like a two-hander, and then it gradually becomes just Jennifer Lawrence's film, and she's insanely good. She's ridiculously good in this.
Yeah. It's like Marlon Brando level good, or the greatest actors in film history level good. Obviously we will be able to kind of spoil things. I'll give you a spoiler warning here, but it's not really about that. I don't think there's much. Well, there might be stuff.
In other words, I'm saying we will say things that happen in the film, and you can consider those spoilers, but it's not that kind of film.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a very bleak film, and I can't say that it was pleasant to watch, and yet it was very beautiful, so I mean there were just shots or bits or framings or imagery that's kind of poeticized or slightly out of focus, or that I just find very beautiful and moving. So for example, that whole exchange between Jennifer Lawrence and Nick Nolte when he can't tie his shoes at the beginning. I just found that so moving, and I couldn't put my finger on why, really. It was almost like, actually, it was coming out of Nick Nolte's performance, right? Yeah. Out of his eyes and, the shaking of his hand and, but also actually out of seeing such two great actors together, I found that moving. But then there were also things like the very beginning of the film where you have this still framing, and it's like a doorway within a doorway within a doorway, and then you see the couple kind of moving in through the window, but you can't make them out, right? It's just kind of such a suggestive image, right? And then there were others. Well, Robert Pattinson comes wearing that cowboy hat looking for her at dusk where she's with another man, right? Or that's not quite clear.
Or imagining she's with another man. There are levels of kind of imagination at play, possibly. Sometimes it seems quite obvious. She imagines her husband. He's not a husband at that point. She imagines Robert Pattinson with another woman when he's not with her.
Yes.
And maybe that's true, maybe it's not, but it's something she's imagining. But the things with the Lakeith Stanfield character, who is a real oddity in the film. He's a really unusual presence in it. For one thing, he's black. And there's not really a strong racial component to the film, but it's just a film peopled by white people, apart from him. And And the way that he comes into the film, we see this motorcyclist riding by. We don't know that it's him. We don't know who he is. He's got leathers on and a helmet, and he just rides by the house. And we're going, she notices him. Robert Pattinson doesn't know anything about this. Who is he? Why is he paying attention to this house? Why does he keep coming by? And then when we see him with his helmet off, she appears to know him. It's like she says, "Cut your lip," and there's nothing that's an unusual thing for one thing, but also there's nothing about who are you, why are you doing this. She seems to know him already.
Yes,
very
still, I wasn't sure that was a real person. So
because then when she speaks to him in the car park as well, it seems real, but actually, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
Could again just be an imagining.
So I wasn't sure of that. Her unraveling the question of time. So, for example, I thought, like, when you see the marriage later on, I thought that was a flashback.
So did I at first.
Yeah, and then it clearly isn't. Kind of the marriage is a way of kind of, I don't know, solidifying what is shaky, in the relationship. And of course, it kind of, unravels even further. So you get a sense throughout that they really love each other, that she doesn't know what's happening to her, and he doesn't know how to help her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, though they all try, right? Though at the beginning he's a bit insensitive. I mean, I think the thing about the dog was incredibly insensitive. Right?
Yeah, so he brings this dog. I mean, she says we need a cat, but he's like, I brought a dog. We've got a baby that she's doing all the looking after, and he's never there. And now it's a dog, and now it's like basically here's something else for you to look after, which she refuses to do.
Yeah, but not only that, also the dog is a replacement for her. Yeah, so he's in bed with the dog instead of being in bed with her. So those things are kind of signaled quite clearly. I mean, I think it's one of those films I have to think about some more. The thing that I'm really certain about is I've never seen anything like it before. And by like it, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a film about postpartum depression.
There have definitely been. We may have even talked about some. I think Tully, if you remember, I may be completely misremembering that film. That was Charlize Theron. We saw that quite early on when we were doing the podcast, and I think that was about that. I maybe misremember, but it's definitely been a topic in films before.
Well, I'm sure that it's been. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that people have mentioned it, but I don't remember a film where the postpartum depression is what the film is about.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think I've ever seen anything like this really. And all from the woman's perspective, and all about kind of her feelings and her ways of understanding, what's happening with the world around her, right? So even when she's being mean or curt, to people, you understand why she's responding the way that she is, right? Like, she's being patronized or, yeah. So I feel like I loved it. I think it's a poetic work. I think it's kind of maybe even a great work. But there are things about it I just don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, I think I feel that way whenever I see a Lynne Ramsay film. I mean, I'm pretty sure that was my kind of abiding sense of You Were Never Really Here. Although I remember absolutely loving that film, and I must watch it again. And We Need to Talk About Kevin was something that I really didn't get, and I must see that again because the way this film works, if you wrote down the plot of this film, it wouldn't look very interesting.
Exactly.
It's just not how the film operates. The film's operating on a level of feeling. And it's about the way images play together, the way sounds play together. That fucking barking of that dog just constantly. It's so overwhelming. And, of course
it's getting on my nerves.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the sequences early on when you're really getting this sense of her in the kind of throes of, not quite depression, but boredom at the time. She's got nothing to do all day long, and he's not there, and it's just the way that the images are selected and edited together. It's a kind of there's a certain amount of associative editing that's just operating. It's on a level of feeling. It's not necessarily formally rigorous. It's just what shot feels right to come next.
Yeah, but I think it is also formally rigorous. I mean, at times it feels like an experimental or avant-garde film, the going in and out of focus, the spark of a detail that's not quite clear, the enormous close-ups on eyes. Yeah, I mean, there's that extraordinary close-up on Jennifer Lawrence's eye, right, kind of, which lasts forever, and it's just one eye.
Reminded me of Psycho, the track out from the eye.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of amazing, really. And it never feels show-offy or grandstanding. It's like, it's always kind of clearly an attempt at expressing kind of something, that sleepiness or the drowsiness of depression or the never quite coming into focus, I think that's all kind of conveyed very beautifully, really.
The way that she uses her face, the way she uses her jaw, she's very expressive with it. She expresses boredom with it. That shot in the car where she's just like sticking her jaw out, just like, because she's sick of the tedium of what he's trying to say. The bit where she's in the hospital, and there's that close up, which is not quite the one you're talking about, but there's a similar close up when she's talking to the doctor, and it's just on her face. And at first there's a shot of her talking about her past, talking about the way she feels and stuff, and then we cut back to her, and it's just a shot of her just looking. And she's moving her jaw from left to right, and you go, well, why are we showing this? But it's just it just generates this feeling. It gets you into her head. This is how she's feeling. This is the time it's taking, and that's what I mean when I say kind of formal rigor. I'm talking about kind of patterns of editing, that kind of thing, that you could kind of mathematically sort of lay out. This is not what's happening in this film. It's what feels right. What feels right to show. And that's why I say I think it's really all about just getting into this character's head. Because it's not about, okay, what's she going to do next? Where does the plot go? It's who is she and how is she feeling? We don't even get that much that's concrete about actually who she is, her past and that kind of thing. But it's about kind of where is she now?
Well, I mean, you are told she was orphaned at 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eventually, yeah.
And that she didn't feel very wanted by her parents, who didn't pay very much attention to her. But it doesn't seem like essential information about her, actually.
No. I reckon this film is probably really relatable to someone who's gone through this kind of thing.
Sure.
I mean, and I think it's that lack of specificity in who the character is probably helps generate that, because it's not about the specifics of your past. It's about how you're feeling now and what are you going through right now. Film feels very present in that sense. Her character is extremely present.
Yes. Let's talk about Robert Pattinson, because he, to me, was one of the flaws in the film. And I'm not sure whether it's a problem with him as an actor or if it's particularly evoked in this way for this role, right? But there's something very hooded or masked or unreachable about Robert Pattinson. He's not the most transparent of actors, I don't think.
No, I think that's probably fair enough. He's a little bit mannered and playing in foreign accents, which is obviously something he's very used to. I mean, who isn't? But it does feel there's a kind of, I don't know, there's something in the way of getting to the core of what his character should be in the way that there isn't for Jennifer Lawrence, who feels like really right there. I mean, you were saying before the film began, you're not sure about Robert Pattinson. You never really have been.
No, it's
so
true.
This kind of play into. Well, I mean, it's possible that I'm saying, maybe there's an element of prejudice, but
I love actors and I love watching actors acting. So I don't think I went in. Well, I went in with an observation. The past, and I've really liked him in some things, because of the way he looks or whatever, right, or the way he's used. But he does have that quality, which works very well in a film like Batman, for example, right? Or the Twilight films, where, But I think here I would have liked to have had more of a sense of his love for her, of an openness, of, wanting to reach out, or even, being emotionally hurt, or, the expression of having the hots for her. I didn't get much of that from him.
Well, I mean, having the hots for her thing is like the first 5 minutes of the film, because after that,
but that's done by actions,
Yeah.
not by anything in his face, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's actually kind of, what they're doing, right? But, you see in her face, a kind of a glee and a desire, whereas in him, you just see him crawling on the floor and then, like having sex. You don't see anything in his eyes that kind of, makes him seem lit up by desire. So, and I think actually, I mean, I think in this case, it kind of works with the film because he is distant. Yeah, he's saying things, but you don't kind of, certainly don't reassure her, and I can understand why. So, but I thought it was a problem with the film. There seems to be a bit of a hole there where a person should be.
Like, you can imagine another actor bringing more to it, but I didn't hate him at all, and I did think there was something. There's something I feel like I get about his character, which is the idea of someone who's just sort of, who's is just struggling with someone who's a bit difficult in some way, and even and is showing too little sympathy to that, but also has their own thing going on that like I can only pay so much attention to you and your issues because I also have my thing. Like, there's something quite relatable about that too. Like, his character isn't totally hateful. His character,
no, he's not hateful at all. I mean, you get the feeling that he loves her and that he's doing everything he can to be of help to her, but doesn't quite know what's going on and is kind of frightened by her.
Well, no, I would say he's not doing everything he can. There's definitely, I think the film definitely is portraying him as not as attentive as he could be, but it does give him reasons to not be as attentive as he could be.
There's an evolution to that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think, at the beginning with the dog and so on, he doesn't have a clue what's happening and he's not being attentive. But I think later on, he paints the house, he cleans the house, he gets a new car. Yeah, he kind of, you get the feeling that he is trying to be really supportive. Yeah,
of course, when that happens and she comes out of hospital and she looks fantastic, and like you go, wow, I didn't realise how unhealthy she'd looked until she came out of hospital and suddenly looked rejuvenated,
My God.
But then you're thinking, this can't last. There's never going to be, these couple will not have a happy ending. There's something's going to go wrong.
Well, you see, I didn't know, and that's one of the things, because I kept wondering, how is this going to end? And after seeing the ending, I'm still not sure how it ended. I mean, how is one to interpret that last scene? Is it symbolic? Is it her burning up her world? Or is it literal? Yeah, that she burned her, but she wasn't carrying her diary when she left. So kind of, I'm not sure how to interpret that ending.
No. The way to try and address it is, I think, the way that everything is working in the film, which is, how does it make you feel? Okay, don't try and think of it as literal. What feelings are being expressed here?
Well,
and it's a kind of liberation, but it's a liberation through destruction. I mean, she's a very destructive and self-destructive character.
She is.
You see that throughout, and this is another example of that. And it's a very kind of grand version of it, because she's setting fire to her writing, which is something that we've been told is important to her, despite the fact she's not been doing it for some time. But it's just like she's given up on that, thrown it away, and will burn down a forest carelessly. It doesn't seem like she's doing it deliberately to burn down a forest, but that's the result. And the forest, I mean, it's definitely kind of dreamlike in the sense that the forest ignites immediately. This does not spread like a fire actually does.
Yeah.
It just immediately goes up, and she walks into the forest naked. I mean, yes, symbolic is.
So I guess she sets fire to her world. He tries to go in after her to rescue her, but can't. Yeah, because he goes, but then steps back, right?
Because it's a fire.
It's a fire. Yeah. So kind of that's an intriguing kind of ending.
I mean, it has that feeling, I suppose, of something like, if we're talking about the film on the level of being an expression of postpartum depression. Remember the ending of Melancholia, which was about just general depression,
yes,
and how, well, the way that ends is the world does end.
Yes.
I mean, it just does. Like, and the thing about Melancholia is Kirsten Dunst's character, who's the depressed one, is in the best position for that, because depressed people expect the worst to happen at all times. You know, everyone else is thinking maybe we'll survive this, and she's like, it's coming. and this maybe has some sense of that, of like,
with a huge moon.
Well, of course things have to end in flames. I don't know, but I mean, there's definitely not a sense of like the relationship ending. I mean, you don't feel this is. I mean, to me, this does not say like she's going off and this is where she dies, right? This is just, this is going to be a moment in her life, but you feel like the story continues. How it continues, I don't know. But like, this isn't the end of them.
I also, another kind of thought, and this might be a cliche, but I also thought it's a film that only women can make.
Yeah.
You know, in all kinds of ways. I mean, through understanding and so on, but also things like, you know, that bit at the beginning where Jennifer Lawrence has been like breastfeeding the baby, and, you know, she's very carelessly dressed and whatever, and then she appears with one breast popped out and the other one in, you know, and all kind of, I don't know, careless and so on, and unthinking, you know, and sloppy, and yeah. And you think, well, I think it's only something that a woman would register or think of registering. And it's also another woman would only feel comfortable with a woman, kind of enacting that, I think. And I thought kind of, you know, she gives such a brave performance, really, particularly for a star.
But she's naked all the time.
She's naked
Not always fully frontally, but she's constantly getting her kit off in some form or other. And as you say, it's not always, sometimes it has a sexual dimension, but in instances like that, it's just a very real dimension of like, she's had to wake up in the middle of the night, feed the kid, she's dazed and tired and stressed out, she's wandering around the house. Why would she bother putting her breast away? You know,
exactly. And it's interesting because all that nudity in the film is like the opposite of sexualized or fetishized, really. It is kind of, you know, I mean, she always looks beautiful, but she's not filmed very flattering. Yeah, and you see a kind of a natural body and movement, and and the camera is not kind of focused on it, really. It's kind of, you know, it's there as kind of a part of a mood or a feeling. It's really kind of quite amazing, I think, to see.
Well, that's very much something that, you know, a woman making this film kind of brings out, is essentially that her body is functional, and it just is what it is, and, you know, it can be very sexy. Yeah,
and it's also beautiful and so on, but
it's not necessarily,
but it's not shown,
right?
Yeah, for the delectation of the male audience.
Exactly, like the camera's not showing it off, with the exception maybe during the sex at the start, which is supposed to be sexy and exciting. But after that, no, that's not the point of it.
Yeah.
But she's someone who's very, you know, the character of this is someone who's kind of very comfortable and expressive with her body, but also doesn't seem to see it as anything special, right? Anything worth protecting.
But also who doesn't care. I mean,
exactly.
You know, kind of a lot of the time is, you know, she's so fed up with everything or so tired of everything that, like, it's almost kind of a transgressive dimension because she just doesn't care, really.
In fact, the point where the husband, again, I keep saying husband, he's not at that point, but the partner, you know, says, "Oh, you're not wearing shorts in the house." She's there on her own, or with him and the baby. Like, why? But and he comes across as being a real prude at that point, and kind of policing her behaviour. And yeah, it's like she doesn't even sense that, like, maybe you would just put shorts on during the day.
Yeah,
you know, she's very much like me. I get home and immediately the clothes come off.
I think maybe the last thing we should mention, or the last thing that's on my mind anyway, is the music. Right? Which I thought was like so imaginative and inventive and varied kind of choices of music, with that country and western duet, you know, kind of that is repeated twice, being kind of the salient example.
I don't recognise the song. I don't know the song, but
I do recognise it, though I can't tell you what the name is, and maybe we should look it up. Actually,
is it "In Spite of Ourselves"?
Yes, I think so. Where is it? Let me play it.
Yeah, "In Spite of Ourselves" by John Prine. Yes. John Prine and Iris DeMent.
Yeah, kind of very inspired choices, really.
Yeah, I liked it very much. So yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely room to go into kind of real thematic depth, but I'm not sure I'm quite able to do that, at least at this point. And the thing is, the film does feel reasonably simple in that sense, because it's not that it's thematically complex. It's that the way it expresses those simple themes is so rich.
Yes.
You know, see what I mean? It comes out through the performance and through the filmmaking, but it's not saying much that's complicated. It just feels like really kind of rich and honest and very relatable.
Yes. The relatable bit is where the artistry is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to make that level of depression so deeply felt in such a variety of ways, right? So the whole thing is that, you know, she has a baby, she gets postpartum depression. Yeah. But it's manifest in all these different ways, right? That then go deeper and deeper and deeper into a kind of psychosis where she's got to be, you know, kind of put in hospital, right? So I think the film is incredible at making you feel that.
Yeah, exactly. It's just kind of amazing character study, and I'm just very slightly wary of suggesting that, like, to really get this film you have to have experienced this kind of thing, because I don't think that you do. I think it will play in a particular way if you have these experiences and share them yourself, but I don't think it's at all necessary, and I don't want to kind of. I think I would like warn people off the film. To say, like, well, it's for people who feel this way. Or
No, I don't think that at all. I mean, I think the film's achievement is that it makes you feel it and understand it.
Yeah.
So you don't have to have experience of it yourself too. That's what the film. Yeah. I mean, that's what the film's artistry enables. That you or me, who am a man and, you know, have never had any experience of that, you know, that you feel it and you understand it, you know, and of course you might not feel everything, you might not understand everything, but I don't know, right? But, you know, I'm kind of grateful that the film did make me feel what I felt and understand what I understood from the film. So.
Yeah, interesting movie.
Yeah, and again, it's another one today that I highly recommend, but see it in the cinema, and maybe it's just me and, you know, that I have the attention span of a gnat or whatever. But again, it's just a film that I can't imagine myself seeing on a telly. Yeah, there are too many distractions. I think you need the level of absorption and the feeling and the mood of the film, to let it work on you, right? And I do think that the TV won't allow you to do that.
No, this is not a film whose action and whose dialogue...
Or even plot. It's not plot driven.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. These aren't the things that are going to grab you.
Yeah.
You have to submit yourself, kind of pay attention and give yourself to the feeling that it's trying to generate. It takes a while to do it. Yeah. You know, but it's like, it's worth giving it that time.
Yeah. Yeah. Highly recommend. Thank you all for listening or eavesdropping at the movies, and we are on
Apple Podcasts, Audible, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, and YouTube Music. On social media, we're on Facebook and Twitter at Eavesdrop Movies. And Blue Sky, eavesdropping.bsky.social. And the website is eavesdroppingatthemovies.com.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.